Ladies and gentlemen, the best wrestling podcast around, The Heel Mob.
From Brooklyn to your living room, it's the best podcast to listen to. Morning, even afternoon, hear clever blind girl and a Jew talk about wrestling. They do it 24/7, cause they love to speak on it every week. That's why they are best friends, and they're back once again for some wrestling talk. So sit back, relax, it's time for Heel Marks.
They're not just smart, they're Heel Mobs. They're not just smart, they're Heel Mobs. They're not just smart, they're Heel Mobs.
Ladies and gentlemen, fans and friends, we are back once again. I am the custodian of charisma, the ophthalmologist of optimism. I am the hyperactive heel and your messiah of mischief. With me, as always, she is the sultan of sarcasm, the sorceress of sass, the blonde ballbuster, and everybody's favorite coat. That's right, I am Brady. She's Danielle. Together, we are the best friends in all the land. And with us, as always, he is saltier than the sea. He is the contractor of comedy. He is everybody's favorite curmudgeon king. He is Salty John Sosis. We are the Heel Marks. This is the Heel Marks. Welcome to another edition of everybody's favorite wrestling talk show. We are here to talk wrestling. In particular, we got NXT Battleground that just happened last night. We've got Raw tonight, which will be the go-home Raw, leading us into Clash at the Castle next week. So let's kick it off, guys. Let's talk about what happened last night. NXT Battleground with their host, Sexy Red, featuring, of course, the debut of the one and only all ego Ethan Page in the main event. Danielle has been smiling ear to ear ever since.
Yeah, I was super excited about this. I'm surprised they gave him a title shot so fast. Like, he came out, attacked Trick like last week, and we were like, oh, and I'm like, oh, they're doing it. They're making him main event and have a match. I was pumped. I wish they kept his entrance music. It's not confidence, it's all ego. I'm not loving this theme, but
honestly, they could have picked any one of his past entrances, and I kind of would have been okay with it. Like, any one of them.
Yeah. John, are you familiar with him at all, Ethan Page?
Yeah, and I also, it's like I was torn. I'm like, do you give him a title shot and then he loses? Do you give him a title shot and he wins the title? I kind of like getting the loss out of the way early on so you don't have to have this big moment. So I'm not completely against how it went, but yeah, I can understand a lot of people on the roster being annoyed by it. At least they put it into the storyline a little bit to play on the ego. It kind of made sense.
So here's what the streets are saying. The streets are saying the original plans for this pay-per-view were actually Noam Dar to be the number one contender and face Trick Williams for this match, his first title defense. Noam Dar got hurt, which is why they wrote him off, and that's why they attributed the attacks to Ethan Page, rushed him in for a 1 week build to this match. That's what the streets are saying. Streets say a lot of things, so I don't know for sure, but that's what the streets are saying. And so this was, whether it was a case of WWE getting Ethan Page signed and them being, you know what, I don't want to wait, let's just do it, or if it was a case of them needing something last minute. They had Ethan Page, and they were kind of like, okay, you know what, let's go with him. So I do believe this was a last minute change. They had to change plans, and it seems like because of that, Ethan Page is now kind of, as soon as I don't know if you guys seen it, it was like a digital exclusive thing, but as soon as the show went off the air, and I'm so upset at myself for forgetting his name, but one of the guys from Noam's stable that Ethan Page attacked, that took out, he attacked him again. He did it on NXT, and now he did it when the show went off the air. So Ethan Page is kind of already now involved with that feud.
I like it. I love it. I love everything about this.
Yeah, it makes sense. And he lost because of a distraction, so it didn't make him look weak, and I think it could continue this.
Kind of a self-inflicted distraction. Like, I hate when the heels get too into the ref. And then it plays
into the ego thing. He should have won, and he didn't. So, like, it plays in perfectly into the character where he doesn't look weak. So I'm kind of okay with it.
Right. And I feel
Swiss Oro Mensa. Swiss Oro Mensa is who he attacked. Yes.
If you're gonna have anybody come in last minute and like get Trick to look good and take an L without damaging you and being a good heel, Ethan Page is definitely the way to go. Like, that man can like flip on a dime. Like, he's so good. I will say, I feel like the last couple of Trick matches I've watched, his finishes are very weird. Like the finish of the matches are always very abrupt, and they happen very quickly. Like they're always
they're kind of trying to establish his finisher as one you can kind of just be hit out of nowhere. You never know when he's going to hit you with that trick shot type of thing. And I think that's kind of what you're sensing from these finishes.
Maybe. Because all of a sudden I'm just like, okay, I was like, so it's going to come now. But I feel like it's a weird buildup. It like happens immediately. And then I'm like, oh.
Right.
Yeah.
It's one of those where they're establishing that anyone who challenges the champion, you take your eye off the ball for a second. Boom. He's going to hit you with that trick shot.
Yeah, I've just noticed that's like a reoccurring thing.
No, and I think because of the fact that Trick's initial push, not obviously Trick being on television, but Trick's push has happened so quickly, where I feel like as soon as hints started that Trick was going to be on his own, boom, the fans just connected to him, and now we're off to the races as he is champion of this brand, and they're really allowing him every week on NXT to be treated like the champion, the face of the show, like this is the house he built. Now they're kind of portraying him like that. So I would like to see him elongate his move set, add a few new moves, add a new move that could end matches. That way we don't, because you don't, haters are they attract champions like fucking flies. So you don't want to give them reasons like, oh, every match finishes the same. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that. So I'd like to see Trick Williams get maybe another match ender in his arsenal. And maybe defended on like if they have him defended on a regular episode of NXT, have him finish with another, and then boom. Like that's what I'd like to see from him.
Right. Yeah. I've just been noticing like that happens a lot where his finishers are very like, oh, it's over. It's not his finisher. It's just the finish of the match, I should say, not his finisher. Which I guess. So
as much as I
mean, I think you've just been spoiled by AEW, where the finisher actually finishes the match. there aren't 18 false finishes. I think that's what's happening right now.
I mean, WWE does that sometimes too. I feel like the Usos have like 15 false finishes.
Yeah, every now and then you do get
it's a generational thing. Yeah, like it's like this new crop of generational wrestlers, they like the false finish. They like playing with people's minds, but at the same time, it's not like they have like 3-4 finishers in their arsenal, kind of like they did back in the day. For example, Rock could hit you with rock bottom. That's his finisher, but you could have kicked out, and it's fine because he still has the people's elbow. Ironically enough, where how's the people's elbow the finisher other than rock bottom? But nonetheless, I digress.
Well, now it's Cody Rhodes has to do Crossroads 3 times to win a match, and it's like, okay, well then that's not really a finisher. If you have to do it 3 times, you didn't finish the guy the first time.
That's because that's a stupid finisher. You know how
that he did that Trinity finisher, like that Trinity of finishers solely. I want this in the video game. He's like, this is gonna be cool in the video game. I'm gonna do it, and then they're gonna have to put it in. That's 100% where that came from. I'm convinced.
I miss a big deal of kicking out of a finisher. I remember like those were big deals when you kicked out of something. Like, remember how they protected End of Days for like ever.
I'm still so sad about that. And I think Corbin still is also, that they made him give it up to Drew out of just a non-title WrestleMania.
Yeah, it wasn't even,
it was WrestleMania, right?
I think it was WrestleMania, yeah. Because it was a big deal, but I think it got overlooked really quickly because it wasn't for anything big. It was just
it was on the way towards Baron's kind of downfall. Like he was on a downward spiral, which took him all the way to NXT and then back up to the main roster. Real quick about NXT and main roster talents. I've seen some people complaining. I think the complaints are silly, but complaining about the fact that every person from the main roster that was on this show, they lost. We got Mishin losing in the ladder match for the North American Women's Championship. We got Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows losing for the Tag Team Championships. And then we've got
Shayna Baszler.
Oh, wait, is that? No, there's Shayna Baszler, of course, losing to Lola Vice. I think this is what they're here for. Like,
that's ridiculous, though. The whole point is supposed to be, what you're basically doing is you're beating a main roster talent, and sure, in the moment, it's making it seem like the NXT talent is over, but you're sending a main roster talent down there, back to the main roster with a loss to a lower talent, and you're devaluing your main roster talent before they go back. What should be happening is exactly what Becky Lynch did. You send them down there, let them win the match, and make the NXT talent fight back to beat them and get their title back. To have them retain a title and beat them and retain the title, you're devaluing your main roster talent. You're making it seem like this was just a small bump in the road for your NXT talent.
So who in particular on this card, do you think they all should have won? Is there one match in particular you think?
I think first of all, it was ridiculous that Shayna Baszler lost at all. I think
that's the only one. That's the only one that I can see.
No,
that's
the
only
OC,
one I can see someone complaining about.
The OC also. The OC is potentially getting into a big storyline with.
So they're gonna carry the NXT Tag Team Championships to the ring with AJ?
Absolutely. And then you could bring Axie, you could bring those guys up to help Cody. Like, you can bring them into the main roster picture and elevate them. Even
if they were gonna do crossovers like that, then I get you. I agree with you on that, but they haven't really even blended the worlds. Like when Ivar, and he's injured now, we're hoping for a speedy recovery, but when Ivar's on Raw, he's full Viking, and obviously we did see Viking Ivar on NXT as well, but we never saw the biker Ivar on main roster. We saw him a few times at NXT. A lot of times they'll have somebody, Carmelo Hayes was heel on NXT while still kind of portraying a babyface on SmackDown. You know what I mean? Like they kind of act like it's different universes sometimes. So the Shayna Baszler that will be challenging for the Women's Tag Team Championships this Saturday at Clash at the Castle, to me, it kind of was a different Shayna Baszler than is facing Lola Vice in NXT Underground. But also, I think Shayna was protected. I think Shayna was protected by the format and the fact that while it was kind of an MMA thing, they did mix wrestling with it, where in terms of steel chairs and tables were there, and I'm sorry, not chair, steps, steel steps, people, got heads right into there, and then the referee stoppage was kind of controversial. Whereas the commentary was kind of making it seem, Shayna didn't even know she was out. But at the same time, we saw Shayna protect herself. And so the referee maybe shouldn't have stopped it, and that's kind of what you get from this format. So I think Shayna gets protected. At the same time, Lola Vice gets made as like NXT Underground's latest, like this is her area, this is her match now.
But it's just not believable. And then she does her stupid dancing at the end. It's like you just got into a brawl with like someone who just beat the shit out of Ronda Rousey.
I did think that was silly. I thought at the very least, walk up the ramp and then do your signature dance, like kiss my ass and then walk away. I thought twerking like above a fallen Shayna was silly. Danielle, what did you make of this one?
I thought Shayna was gonna win. I was like, Shayna's a powerhouse. Like, she's also like the longest reigning women's champion, no? Like NXT champion, two-time champion. Like, I would think that they would keep her a little protected because she has such a legacy there, So I thought that was very weird that she won. I don't think the OC, when it comes to tag teams, I feel like they can flip-flop from main and NXT. I don't see a distinction, even though there's 3 separate titles. Like, I think it's okay for them to all go around and do. So I didn't mind OC losing either. And same with Michin. I didn't mind her either, because that's also a ladder match. So like there's multiple.
Also, here's a quick fun fact just on that.
Love fun facts.
There's only 2 people, and this is my memory. So somebody, go ahead and at me if I am wrong and you find someone else. It's very possible. But to my memory, the only people who have gone from NXT to main roster, back to NXT, and then back to the main roster, and won a title in their second run in NXT, Finn Balor, winning the NXT Championship in his second run, and that was a 2-year run. He wasn't, and Baron Corbin coming back and winning the Tag Team Championships with Braun Breaker. Both of those happened when Becky
was an NXT champion beforehand.
Oh, she wasn't?
No, that's why it was a big deal when she won the NXT Championship, because Becky was never an NXT champion until she went back.
Right, never did that.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
But Finn Balor came back and won the title. Because he wasn't on the main roster anymore. Same with Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin wasn't on Raw or SmackDown, left. These guys are still on Raw and SmackDown. And what do we say when somebody is leaving NXT and then they're going to the main roster? They're usually leaving on their back. They're putting someone over on their way out. Shayna Baszler's done now. She's probably we're not gonna see her on NXT anymore. She came in to do a little bit of tag teaming with Lola Vice, and then they split. Shayna Baszler's going back to Raw so she can try to become a tag team champion. She had to put over Lola. That's why they brought her here. Same with the
I'm trying to
OC.
get it. I just feel like I think if it ended a little bit different, like you said, with the ref stoppage, I guess that's okay a little bit, but I was very surprised with Shayna. I also
forget about the time. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I forgot that Finn came back and won a title. I totally forgot that he was NXT champion again. I totally forgot.
Yeah, Charlotte too, of course. Charlotte's the only one now that I think about it. Main roster, while still on the main roster, she returned to NXT, won it again, took the NXT championship around to Raw. And it was okay. So I'm forgetting Charlotte.
Yeah, but forget about the title.
But that was also they were trying to do something different to like they wanted to almost elevate the NXT championship with that.
Yeah, but it doesn't like the title. I don't think the title matters. Like the fact that Becky Lynch, it doesn't matter that she went back and won the title for the first time. She went back, beat an NXT talent, and then it was a bigger deal when the NXT talent beat her back and took the title back. Like when you give,
I think that's why they had Shayna and Lola establish themselves as a little bit of a dangerous duo before making Lola turn her back on her and then leave her laying. Like this was the story Shayna was brought in to tell, into putting her over. With Mishin, I think Mishin, they kind of just wanted, if something tells me Mishin just heard that this match was happening backstage and kind of campaigned to be in it. So I could be, I'm totally making that up, really.
I also
something tells me Mishin was like a ladder match for the first ever. Yeah, please put me in that.
Yeah, but also I think they see her as a vet who can be the person to pick up slack in that match if it's needed. So I don't even think she needed to. I don't. If she did put herself up for that match, I don't even think it was a conversation. They were probably like, "Oh, absolutely." Like
perfect selection. And short of the Mae Young Classic, they've never really done much with Mishin, no matter what name they called her. So I liked her in the match also because I could have seen her winning. It would have been a solid decision to put it on her because they're separating her. At least I think they're separating her from the AJ Styles OC thing, because if you watched her in the backstage brawl on SmackDown, she was still screaming, "Keep AJ's name out your mouth! Keep AJ's name out your mouth!" Sounded like Will Smith at the Oscars. So despite AJ not including her in any of his plans, keep AJ's name out your mouth. That will set her off. So
that ladder match also, I was very surprised that Kalani Jordan. I was very surprised. I was like anyone else I could have seen winning, I was very surprised. I don't hate it. I was just very surprised. I'm surprised they went that route.
Yeah, for me, the dark horse going in was Fallon Henley. I thought, like, if I had to pick somebody I wasn't suspecting, she would have been my dark horse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't even have KJ Kalani Jordan
on the radar.
My, long shots. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even have her on the radar. I really thought it was gonna be Parker, or I thought it was gonna be Soroka. Honestly.
Yeah. In fact, if I'm looking at this, I definitely had her ranked last in terms of probability. So yeah, I was just all the way wrong.
Definitely.
But I thought the women killed it with the ladder match. I think it's not an easy task to be put out there in a ladder match. I'm sure most of them have never been in a ladder match. They do it on a PLE to declare your first ever champion. It's not an easy task, and I did think they all killed it.
Yeah,
it's a very easy match to be botch-tastic.
And I think they're realizing that they need to bring excitement to Money in the Bank and to the Elimination Chamber. So they're going to be having a lot. I'm considering these audition matches. Like that didn't need to be a ladder match. That could have been a tournament they could have done for the title. Like this was an audition for those bigger matches.
I do think also they tried to keep it with when they first introduced the North American title for the men. They did it in a ladder match. That was the first thing. So they tried to do equivalent. I would say that's probably why.
Right. No, it's 100% why. And to their credit, I do like, and this is something so small, and it's probably got Triple H and Shawn Michaels written all over it, but I love that they're not scared to name drop Adam Cole. I'm scared they're not just acting like, oh yeah, and you never forget when our first NXT North American champion was crowned in a ladder match and the winner won. I'm glad that they're not afraid to say Adam Cole won it. He's a part of their history. It's usually petty shit like that you see the companies do, and I
always forget Adam Cole was the first. I always think it's Ricochet. I'm like, yeah, Ricochet won, and then you always say it's Adam Cole, and I'm like, that's right, it was Adam Cole, because
they were scared to
and we were there, Danielle.
What'd you say?
They were scared to name drop Dana Brooke.
Oh God.
Well, no, they keep orchestrating these teases. Ethan Page, isn't he from AE? What the? oh,
Yeah.
that's Dana. I mean,
Yeah.
Ash by L. So I like that I think it's fun.
It's really fun.
Like,
It's really funny what they're doing. They know what they're doing because they want to attach it to whatever, but just
yeah,
because they
like
they're gonna be they know there are WWE fans that won't know these people from where they're from. So
Right.
they know what they're
they're playing with it. Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of that match, and I'll say this, I love that Ethan Page got to main event his first match. I love that Trick Williams' first title defense was in a main event. With that said, a lot of the complaints I've been seeing about that match are that it wasn't necessarily main event caliber, and not even them. It only got 12 minutes. And I think when you're thinking of a main event of a pay-per-view for the championship, you're expecting more. I think the biggest problem with that match being the main event, though, was that it wasn't the most important match on the card. The most important match on the card was Jordynne Grace versus Roxanne. That's the way it was portrayed. That's the way it was billed. Every time someone from TNA was posting pictures of them there, whether it was Gail Kim, it was all about Bailey was in the front row, and why she's like, I gotta see this women's match. I gotta see this. So that match really, to me, was the most important match, was the main event. The only reason it didn't close was because of the finish that they booked for this match.
When we did predictions last week, Trick and Ethan hadn't even signed for that match yet. We were like, oh, they're not on it because everything else is on it, so we're fine. But then they ended up doing it. But yeah, the Jordynne Grace one was a bigger one.
Because they did, I don't think that they were the main event because I don't think people thought it was going to be as good as it was. I think they knew it could have been when you have two people that come from two different types of wrestling, and that's why WWE is trying to get these 18 and 19-year-olds to get them from the ground up. When you have people that are coming from two different backgrounds, there's a possibility that there is chaos in that ring. I don't think they thought that either of them are bad, obviously, but they knew there was potential for it to be a main event botch fest, and it just ended up being the best match of the night.
This is a strong disagree on this end. I don't think anybody was sleeping on these women. I think everyone knows what Jordynne Grace and Roxanne are both bringing to the table. Danielle, you got your
I'm not a huge fan of Roxana Perez.
Me neither. I don't think she's not great. Bad,
but she's not. That's kind of how I feel about Lyra Valkyrie. She's another. Too. I'm like.
With Lyra, I'm with you. With Roxanne, I really think in this heel persona in this second run with the title, she's coming into her own. I'm watching a new Roxanne form, and I have to remind myself constantly that she's only 22. So we're literally watching like the blueprint get laid for her.
Right. She definitely held her own against Jordynne Grace because Jordynne Grace, I mean, we've been watching her for years. Jordynne Grace just gets better and better. Ever since COVID, when she completely transformed her body and just became the monster she is now, like she's so good. And Roxanne, I keep saying Roxanne held her own against her. And it was really, I know I keep saying it, but this match was really good.
The wrong person.
I wasn't going to correct you because I thought it was just going to be a one-time thing. And that,
I keep saying
luckily you're correcting yourself.
Do you guys think the wrong person won?
No.
I mean,
I 100% think the wrong person.
You think Jordynne Grace should have won the NXT title?
Absolutely, because I think the only benefit WWE gets out of this, aside from like trying to get Jordynne Grace to sign with them at some point, because I think that's eventually what's going to happen, is getting more eyes on WWE if they're not already there, or at least getting more eyes on NXT. And the way you do that, NXT to me is below TNA in terms of the experience of the wrestlers. Would we agree on that?
Experience?
Yeah. In terms of like the experienced wrestlers, I would say TNA has more experienced wrestlers.
Oh, yeah. I thought you had more.
So if you want to bring more people to NXT, you put them in front, you put the NXT stars in front of the TNA audience. What you just did was you gave a killer match in front of the NXT audience. You give that title to Jordynne. You send her over to TNA to defend that title. Then you send Roxanne over there and do another killer match in front of the TNA audience, and you let them see, oh, these NXT kids are fucking good. Let's go start watching NXT. Like that's how you do that, which I think they're going to do anyway. I think that's going to be the secret.
Consummating, right, Brady? instead of
They're
canoodling.
consummating all over the place.
Consummating
I'll say
all
this.
over the place.
I really think Jordan Grace, and I think if Jordan Grace enters the WWE world, or even AEW, or even if Jordan Grace just started branching out and doing more like indie stuff, personally, I think she should be in the conversation for best women's wrestler on the planet right now.
Jordan,
I
100%.
I don't think she's in nearly enough of those conversations as she should be. So that's where it comes from, where I say maybe they made the wrong decision. Maybe Jordan Grace should have won. And I said it last week that like on paper, like Jordan Grace and Roxanne really shouldn't even be in the same league. Jordan Grace is like, she looks like she should be half of the men on the NXT roster or main roster as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so that's only where it's coming from. However, I don't think that benefits NXT. And it certainly wouldn't have benefited Roxanne to lose, to get another short title reign, to essentially become a transitional champion for someone who's not even with the company. Even if she got it back in a month, I don't think it would benefit her or NXT or even NXT women in general. Especially as you're crowning a new champion. So I think they had to keep the title on Roxanne, and that's why they booked the screwy finish with Tatum Paxley coming out of nowhere saying she wants gold, but then, ooh, surprise, surprise, she's actually interested in TNA gold. So now we're getting teases at our next possible crossover, and then Ash by Elegance making a nice little cameo for all the Dana Brooke fans in the world, but that whole thing was kind of a little weird too, because you didn't really explain why Ash by Elegance was even in the building. Like maybe if Bailey was in the front row, maybe Ash by Elegance could have been in the front row too, right? And they're like, oh look, she's here to support her TNA, colleague, or maybe she wants to see who's champion because she wants it, all types of things. And then boom, Tatum Paxley does her thing. Dana Brooke then could have showed up and done that. And then Jordan Grace would have a bit more of a reason to get, like, this was Jordan Grace just lays everyone out. And then that's what causes her downfall. I did love the counter, though. Roxanne's counter of Jordan Grace's finisher and then into hers. I thought that was great. The finish was well executed. I think it was a screwy finish, but a good one.
Or Jordan's ear.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I would never wear earrings in a ring, ever. Oh.
Yeah, me neither. Like, especially with the way they wrestle and just a fucking headlock alone. And just like, are you kidding me? Like, I would have no piercings at all.
Yeah. I like the triple threat match too. Like, I was surprised. You know how I feel about triple threat. Dude, Femi is a monster. He's so good. Like, so
I feel like a lot of the triple threats we've seen over the past year
I've been
have
okay
impressed
with.
you. Like, I feel like they're starting to evolve their styles. Maybe they're going out of their way. They're like, what would Danielle do?
I'm going to tell you what they stopped doing. They stopped doing the two wrestle and the one at the end laying outside for like 40 minutes. Like, they actually like are fighting each other and like helping each other or teaming against. I think they've fixed their my triple threat problem. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. The match has evolved. Obafemi is a goddamn monster.
Jesus, he's so good. Like, where do they find this specimen? Like, he's insane. He's so good.
Seriously, he's a beast. And just everything from, like, if you watch his entrance, like, he's got like an aura about him, like the way he walks, the way he swings his arms, the way he holds up his title. Like, the guy is money. WWE has something special with him, and I think they need to keep this title on him for as long as possible.
Definitely.
Pretty much until they decide he's ready for main roster. I don't even know if I would put the NXT Championship on him, because honestly, by the time they do, they're only going to have like a month until they're like, you know what, let's just throw him on the main roster.
We got to put you in the main.
So at this point, like, let him just be the forever the NXT North American champion until he's ready to get drafted or signed or however they do it. For me, the biggest thing that people are going to be talking about, and this match was great, loved it, but after the match, later in the night, is when Gallus, the trio, attack Wes Lee by himself, the solo guy. He's got no backup. He's got no friends.
He has plenty of friends. They're just not in NXT.
They're in a treehouse somewhere.
They're hanging out in the treehouse. I just want this would have been the perfect opportunity. Maybe they'll do it. Did you see what's his face?
I think they're leading into it.
Yeah, because Zachary Wentz posted and he was like, dude, I'm only a call away or something. And I was like, oh, please let them reunite the Rascals.
Which, like, the teases are cool, but him teasing it almost makes me think it's not happening, right? Like, the second I saw the attack, the first thing I texted you was like, oh my God, they're actually doing it. Like, it's happening. And then when he starts tweeting about it, it makes me think, oh, well, fuck. Now they're not going to do it.
Maybe they
now
will.
they're just going to pair Wesley with like another NXT tag team. We're all going to be butthurt about it.
John, are you familiar with the Rascals?
No.
Oh, so Wesley.
Oh, man.
Zachary Wentz and why am I forgetting the third one? Trey Miguel.
Yeah,
they were the Rascals. They were a trio on TNA. They were super fun. Like, such a fun stable to watch. They had the treehouse. They had like this whole gimmick. So Wesley and Zachary Wentz came to NXT for a while, and then Zachary Wentz left. They were tag champs, right? Yeah, in NXT.
Yeah, Zachary Wentz got let go because
he got like a
things that were said. Yeah, but then he's been in TNA ever since.
Yeah, TNA. Keep saying NXT, but it's not true. But yeah, I hope they do a little crossover because there's so many possibilities for crossover.
They need to. Like,
there are also some people I feel bad. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
I know what you're gonna say, Jack. Go ahead.
No, they're just people I feel bad for if WWE ends up buying TNA.
Right, because like Ziggy and all of them.
Ali.
Yeah, like all the ones that just went Mustafa Ali, like aren't they all on TNA?
Yep.
Well, the funniest thing is the Ethan Page of it all. Because Ethan Page left TNA to sign with AEW, and as soon as he did, AEW started canoodling with TNA, and now he left AEW to sign with WWE, and as soon as he does, they start consummating together.
And he left TNA in a crazy way. Remember that Johnny Karate or whatever? What was it? Karate Man, right?
Johnny Karate is from Parks and Rec. This was Karate Man, yes.
What was the Karate Man, right? And he did this whole thing, and he was so pissed the way they did it, and he was so mad at it. But I would love the North to reunite. Ethan Page and
or John even just the North to fight. Like, I just feel like
I'll fight each other.
They don't have the team. I'll take them beating each other up.
Josh Alexander's a monster. He's somebody I love Josh Alexander so much. Him, Moose, all of them.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I would love it if they would actually go all the way. And I know it's it's a little too close to Forbidden Door, but like legit, give us a crossover. Give us a TNA versus NXT pay-per-view. An entire pay-per-view.
Basically Survivor Series.
Crossover matches. Like that would be fire. And that would be big talking point.
Right.
And huge for morale because I think that's what happens when you've been with WWE for like 5, 7, 9, 13 years.
Yeah.
You look at all the people you're facing on the live events, on the Raw, on the SmackDown, and you have faced them all. You're looking at NXT solely because it's a new crop of talent for you to have new exciting matches. How many people in WWE want to face Moose right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is the shot.
Yeah. Get Ace Austin over here to fight people. Oh, money all the way. Man, I love TNA.
Like, the main problem comes from the fact, and this is where this is why I kind of never thought this relationship would really happen like this, is because TNA has always been pretty good about letting people go. If they are going to sign with WWE, they'll let you out of your contract because they want what's best for you. They understand we can't put you on movie posters. We can't put you on the biggest channels. We can't give you the money they're giving you. So if you want to go, we're not going to keep you here. But now WWE's able to like kind of get them more interested in wanting to get there without even actually having to do anything wrong.
Right.
A TNA person gets contracted for an NXT event. They're getting paid more than they've ever seen working their entire career in TNA for like 3, 4 appearances. They're treated like all-stars. They've got all these producers and veterans telling them how great they are. Like, come on. Like, TNA could lose their entire roster real quick.
Yeah, Broken Matt's over there. So many people are over there.
You got Chef HBK just chefing shit up.
Yeah, Chef HBK.
Did you see the little video him, Jordan Grace, and Sexy Red did?
Yeah.
I thought it was cute. Everyone says it's so cringe. I thought it was cute.
I don't know what a Sexy Red is. Still
She's a rapper. Go sexy, get it sexy.
That's what she says? That's her song?
That's her song.
So she's talking to herself in the third person?
No, it's the crowd screaming, get it sexy.
Oh.
Or she's talking to her people who, her fans are all sexy as well.
Oh, okay. So she's
Sexy
calling
world that
down
Sexy
her-
Red lives in.
All right.
It's like really, it's the anthem for the summer, really, because everyone needs to be told they're sexy once in a while.
Yeah.
And everyone needs to be told that you're not a sexy boy. Oh wait, no, he was a sexy boy. He wasn't a boy toy. That's what it was.
Yeah, just a sexy boy, and he's not anybody's boy toy. So he shouldn't be upset in McDonald's when they run out of boy toys because he's not a boy toy.
Exactly.
I will stand by that.
I am curious when I look at the finished product over here at NXT at who the next challenger for Trick Williams could be. Because as I did mention, it does seem Ethan Page is already moving on to a feud with Metaphor. So Trick Williams is kind of out there. And one thing I'm noticing, like when you like WWE, the main roster did kind of take everyone that NXT had elevated to star level. They took Braun Breaker, Ricochet, the Dragon. They even took Baron Corbin. So who else is left to kind of step into that role? Or does someone on the main roster who hasn't really been, getting that use, do they maybe come in to give another veteran a shot at kind of reinventing themselves or just creating a threat?
I mean, if Ricochet doesn't leave, I would put Ricochet back in NXT.
Oh man, let's talk about that.
I think we're going to see Matt Hardy.
That'd be so fun. And as the TNA crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun one.
And fun.
See, that would be smart if they had someone from TNA step up and kind of follow suit.
People that know the world, people that wanted to be there. Matt Hardy said he would go back to WWE. I think TNA just made more sense for him now.
Yeah.
If he wants to play in that playground, like let him go. Let him go work with some of the younger guys.
Well, I also think reason why Matt chose TNA over WWE, and I think this is a reason why, if Ricochet does, in fact, the streets are saying Ricochet has announced that he does not intend to re-sign any contract when his contract is up this summer. He's gone from WWE since I believe the contract is running out. I don't think there's going to be a 90 days. The contract will run out and then he'll be able to go on TV wherever he wants. Everyone's talking about Ricochet and AEW got to do it. I disagree. Strong disagree from this guy.
Strong disagree.
Like I don't know why people are still acting like this is 5 years ago and AEW is like the golden pool. Listen, not an AEW hater. I love AEW, and for different wrestlers, I think AEW is the perfect place. But for someone like Ricochet, until AEW uses Pac the right way, then Ricochet needs to stay far away.
Agreed.
Because Pac and Ricochet are like the innovators of this shit.
It's different though.
AEW will try to get Ricochet so they can do a Will Ospreay and Ricochet.
That's exactly it. I think it depends on who you have.
Right.
Pac, I don't think Pac is good. Like nobody wants to see Pac and Bryan Daniels. Like that's not a match that people are going to want to see the way that you're going to want to see Ricochet and Ospreay.
But here's my thing. To my knowledge, Will Ospreay is not exclusive to AEW. No, like all of AEW wrestlers, they can go where they want. Right. So Ricochet, this is my thing. I'm not saying Ricochet should stay away from AEW for that reason. I'm saying Ricochet, Matt Cardona changed the fucking game. He really did. And he did it again.
He didn't change the game. He can do indie stuff, but AEW still limits where they can go. They can go to New Japan. They can go to a few indie promotions where
they can go to GCW. They can go to GCW.
Yeah, but
Matt Cardona wasn't in
TNA. He was in TNA.
Matt Cardona made appearances in AEW before.
Made appearances and that's it. Yeah, but he wasn't
as an independent wrestler. He wasn't part of the roster.
Right. No, but this is why I'm saying Ricochet shouldn't sign. Listen, do I think Ricochet and Will Ospreay can make an indie match happen on their own? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. If they want to.
You don't think Tony Khan wants that on his
course,
show?
Tony Khan wants it. I just don't think it's going to be the best interest of Ricochet. No, and I think all of Ricochet fans, the ones coming from the indies and the ones coming from fucking Lucha Underground, who want to see the Puma return, they're going to want to see him treated the way WWE wasn't. What did WWE not do? They didn't fucking put the World Championship on him. They didn't treat him like he was one of the best wrestlers in that locker room, and I don't think AEW will either. I think he'll be a shiny new toy. They'll make a big new signing, a big new return, which they haven't had in a while. They'll give you guys the dream matches, but is Ricochet going to beat Will Ospreay? I don't know. They're making Will Ospreay their fucking golden boy right now. So,
Well, but
what does
also like
Ricochet really have to gain? Do they put him on every fucking show they have, or do they say, okay, listen, you're off Dynamite, you're off Rampage 2, but we're gonna put you on Collision this week, and next week, I don't know, maybe a Ring of Honor. Like, there's just so much going on over there.
yeah, but let's be
Ricochet would be
honest.
best served staying independent for a little while, seeing how the waters feel, seeing how much money he can make on his own, seeing how many people he can get talking about his name with the videos he posts and all these things. Let him do it himself first. And if the numbers don't work, and if he's not making the waves that I think the Dark Puma could, then go ahead. Go to AEW, see what they do with you.
Ricochet is not world champion material. I think he's a great
And I
wrestler.
disagree.
I think he's a high
Strong
flyer. I do not look at him and say this is a guy who can carry a company, carry the world title of a company. I feel the same way about Mustafa Ali. I think he's a great wrestler. There's no way in the world he was ever going to be world champion and be allowed to carry a company. It's just not. It's not him.
People used to say that about Cody Rhodes. You know that, right?
All the time.
I mean, I still don't think Cody Rhodes. They put the belt on him and we're
wrong. It's okay to be wrong.
No, I still don't believe that about Cody Rhodes. They put the belt on him and look at what's happening. It's kind of tanking. Like there's not been I haven't seen a positive review about Cody Rhodes.
They just said like this week or last week that the numbers have not been high. Like Cody as champion has been putting.
It's the complete opposite. They lost like 1 million viewers since WrestleMania. Since he's been champion, SmackDown's lost like over 1 million viewers.
That's because wrestling fans are fickle. Like the minute we get what we want, we change our mind.
Well,
no, it's because
the story was Cody chasing, and now it's not.
Okay,
Cody as champion is not.
But it's real easy. It's real easy to contribute that solely. Oh, Cody's champion, and now the numbers are tanking. By the way, everyone's fucking hurt, and we're gonna take Roman Reigns off TV. We're gonna take Seth Rollins off TV. Becky Lynch doesn't have a contract. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Right. There's other stuff.
Hand Cody the reins to the fucking car with a full tank of gas. Cody had to push this shit up a goddamn hill.
The only person that's missing from, I mean, granted, it's one of the biggest stars, but like LA Knight's still there. Logan Paul has been there almost every week except for the last two. Like the SmackDown.
I hate to tell you what they think about LA Knight, buddy, because it's similar to the way you're looking at Ricochet.
No, and I agree. They're looking at it wrong, but listen to the crowd reaction to LA Knight still without a title, and listen to it to Cody with and without the title. Nothing has changed since he's gotten the title, except it's gone downhill in terms of viewership. Nobody's tuning in.
Now, speaking of LA Knight, do we think, and I'm going to use this as a way to usher us into Clash at the Castle, though I think, Danielle, you might have had one thing more to say about Ricochet. I feel like you had your mouth open.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that I could see him as a champion and lead a company because we've seen him do that in others, in Lucha Underground.
I agree.
In other places.
I agree. And I think
he was a big deal as Prince Puma. Like he was a big deal. It's just, I also feel like maybe you've only seen him in WWE, so it's hard to like deviate from that. Cause I get that too. Like if you haven't seen them in other places, and WWE, I understand it's the big kahuna, but you know.
And listen, when Drew McIntyre first was fired, everyone was saying the same thing. They were saying WWE made the mistake by calling him.
He transformed himself.
He never was going to be able to work champion. But no, but he transformed himself. But then at the same time, he went to Impact, became world champion. Bobby Lashley did the same thing. A lot of these people went there and let you actually see what it was like with them as champ, running a company. Hell, even EC3. And so a lot of times, that's the only way to change someone's opinion about you. It's to go there and show. Do I think the people, John, I don't think your opinion's unique. I think the people in AEW feel the same way about Ricochet as you do. And am I saying they're wrong? You're wrong? Maybe. Yes, I do think you're wrong. But maybe you're fucking right. But either way, I think the people in TNA agree with me and Danielle. I think the people on the indies, GCW and the others that are making waves agree with us. And so that's how Ricochet can change the opinions of you, of the people in AEW that probably wouldn't be using him the way I think, and of the people in WWE. And so maybe if he does things his own way, shows people what Prince Puma, what Ricochet, whatever he calls himself, really brings to that table, when AEW and him do come up with a deal, if that's the work, his value would be increased. But him going straight from WWE, the way he's been portrayed for however many years, to AEW, in my opinion, is going to be a short-sighted decision.
Well,
That's all
that
I'm
being
saying.
said, like what I put heavy weight on the ability for someone to speak. I don't think he's great on the mic. That being said, that's why I think he could potentially thrive in AEW if they focus on the wrestling and not the speaking. As you saw with Swerve this week, he gave his whole
He's a better talker than people give him credit for. However, I will say this. If I was booking, if I just even had his ear, just to say, hey, Ricochet, this is what I would do, I'd say he puts that mask right the fuck on. Prince Puma returns. Dark Puma, King Puma, whatever he wants to call himself. But yeah, put the mask on. Then people they're not demanding for the promos, even though, like I said, he can talk, and I think he can work that in. But throw that mask on, let the Puma take over, and let us live in that world. We do got to get into Clash of the Castle predictions. I'm looking at 5 matches. I'm feeling like another one's on the way. I don't know if it's Logan Paul and LA Knight. I don't know if it's DIY versus Grayson Waller and Johnny Gargano. Those two would be my guesses. There is a segment scheduled for SmackDown this week. It will be the Grayson Waller effect with Austin Theory and their guest DIY. My guess is that the title match could get added right then and there for Clash of the Castle. Once again, LA Knight and Logan Paul, they're coming after each other. LA Knight wants his match. It hasn't been made official yet. So what do you guys think? Do you think I'm making this up and we get a 5-match card and the story continues itself the week after? Do you think one of these matches might make its appearance?
I think we'll get 6 matches.
I think we'll get another match. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be LA Knight and Logan Paul, but I do think that another match will come. Gargano and Waller, I could see that. I feel like they're going to wait because I feel like LA Knight is going to take the title from Logan Paul, but I don't think it's going to be on this pay-per-view. Maybe it'll be SummerSlam, maybe it'll be but I think LA Knight's the one to take it from Logan Paul.
Or they will do this match and Logan Paul wins this one and then LA Knight gets the rematch. But yeah, the title will be taken.
But I think LA Knight is going to take it from Logan eventually.
Yeah.
It's so interesting you say that. I think like you put that match on this card, like John just said, I give Logan Paul the W. You put that match on SummerSlam card, I give LA Knight the W. You put DIY versus Grayson Waller and Austin Theory on this card, I give it to DIY because they're clearly setting the breadcrumbs up for Grayson Waller and Austin Theory split. So like, and they got the belt, so they're not even setting a turn. It's really, when do these guys drop the titles and to who? As soon as they do, you know, Waller's gonna chew Austin Theory out. You lost it for us. You're never as good as me. I carried you. Austin Theory finally punches him, turns on, and the crowd goes crazy, and hopefully a babyface would be born. That's what they're hoping with this one.
I think that's the match that they have to add because I mean Miz and R-Truth, I think didn't they defend at the last pay-per-view? It seems like they're swapping back and forth. So I don't think story going into this one. So I think that's going to be the match that gets added, and I think we're going to see Kevin Owens and the Street Profits against the Bloodline again.
At the pay-per-view?
I think we're seeing that again at the pay-per-view.
I don't think we get 7 matches then. So like
I think we're getting 6 total.
Oh, so you think the Bloodline?
Okay, so
I can't imagine they're leaving off the Bloodline and Kevin Owens with Roman supposedly coming back in a few weeks.
They could possibly just schedule that to be like a brawl that just happens.
That's what I'm thinking.
Like Kevin Owens' music hits, the crowd goes fucking crazy. Speaking of, did I miss something? I have seen a lot of workout videos. Maybe it's a rehab thing. Do we know why Bobby Lashley's not on TV right now? Like, I don't remember hearing about an injury, but it kind of seems like
I thought he got
TV.
injured.
His entire stable, Street Profits and BFAB, are coming out with Kevin Owens, like this entire pairing. We haven't seen Lashley, but they still referring to it as the Pride. So I'm just curious as to where he went.
I thought I read that he got injured for sure.
Okay, yeah. And so,
it didn't require surgery, but it was definitely an injury.
Okay. And so, yeah, like I said, I've been seeing him rehab. So hopefully we're getting closer. I'm glad they found something fun for the Profits and for BFAD to do as far as this. Interesting thing about this card, for me, it's so hard to pick the winners because it seems like it should be so predictable almost. Like the predictable ones are the hard because I'm looking at it's like one title has to change hands, right? But
No.
if DIY and Grayson Waller and Austin Theory get added, well, there it is. That's the title changing hands. And if I pick my winners for this one based on one title changing hands, boom, the whole thing blows up.
I think there are going to be 2 titles that change hands here.
Oh my God, John, you're
You
driving me
too?
crazy.
2,
I'm always wrong.
Let's get into it.
2, possibly 3.
Whoa.
All right. Well, then let's figure out who John thinks is walking away with titles. Let's start with the female, the women's tag team champion match. It's Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. They're going to defend against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark.
Oh, I go first?
John, who you got?
Sorry. I think Bianca and Jade are retaining. I don't think they're losing the title anytime soon.
John, you agree?
Yeah, Sam.
Okay, interesting. See, when you said 2 or 3 title changing hands, I for sure thought that you were giving this one.
Oh no,
to,
I knew exactly who he was picking.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I agree with you guys. I think this would be an easy one for them to have the title change be, and it would get them a good response if they did give it to the locals. But I'm going Bianca and Jade as well. I think they'll retain. This is gonna be a fun match, though. I wish Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark were actually being put in a position to win. I'd love to see them get the belts, and I hope they do soon. But this is gonna be, I think, like this is the continuous time of them coming out non-champions. And I think unfortunately they're going to be the ones taking the pins too. So
I mean, in reality,
let's-
if they wanted to give it to the home team, and I have a few more minutes, so we don't have to rush through this, but if
Okay.
they want to give it to the home team, Bianca and Jay don't have to take the pins. So there is that chance, but I don't think they're going to lose it right now.
Right. I mean, that's what I meant by this would be easy to take it off them, because you could protect them, and Bianca and Jade you can keep them together as a very popular tag team, or you can separate them and they'll both be fine. So it's not like with these other teams where we lose now, what next?
Yeah.
Speaking of what's next, let's talk about the most over story going in WWE right now. I'm talking, of course, about Sami Zayn and Chad Gable and the Alpha Academy. That crowd last week, and literally the past few weeks, like they get louder and louder every week. It's a fever pitch. They are fiending for some Otis. And Akira and Maxine got some love as well.
Man, oh man. I want Sammy to have the title a little longer, but
Right.
Alpha Academy storyline is so hot right now. I feel like you got to give it a Chad, because then we got to get Otis eventually. Like, we got to have Chad can have it for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe even past SummerSlam, just for a while, because he's going to be so obnoxious and you're going to hate him so much that you're going to be so behind Otis to finally turn on him and be like, no, I'm coming after that title. So for me, I love Sammy, but I'm going to go Chad with hopes that Chad wins so we can continue this Alpha Academy storyline.
Yep. Same. I think we're heading down a path where Otis wins his first singles title as an intercontinental.
What a pop he's going to get too.
Oh,
it's the only story that should be going. Like it has to be the progression of the story.
I mean, that's what it needs to be, right? Like they need to have their fingers on the pulse and feel, okay, wait a minute, shit. A baby face is born again. Otis, it's his time. We got to do it. This is and listen, and Daniel, I agree with you. It's tough to see Sami Zayn get such at the end of the day, kind of a underwhelming title reign, coming off of Gunther's, coming off of WrestleMania. But the fact of the matter is, and we said it going into WrestleMania, Sami Zayn was the wrong choice. Chad Gable put himself on the map. Chad gave himself the story that they needed. Chad Gable was the guy. And you're right. You went with Sami Zayn. Cool. You turned Chad Gable heel. Cool. Chad Gable is still the fucking guy. Chad Gable never stopped.
Wait. But what's interesting is I think if Chad Gable was the guy at WrestleMania, he'd be in the Cody Rhodes situation. We'd be like, what now? The fact that he wasn't, I completely changed my opinion, because now what can happen is Sami Zayn loses the title. Sami Zayn takes on the role that Chad Gable had. He coaches Otis to beat Chad Gable, and this is going to take Sami Zayn around the new year into the world champion picture, and we get Sami Zayn where he was supposed to be, and all those other stories had time to play out. So you could probably have Drew and Punk are going to have probably fought for the title already. Damian and Finn are probably going after a title, have probably had their title run, their title program already. And now you can have Sammy inserted back into the picture at a higher level, and he played his part bringing that intercontinental story together. So I think this is like a perfect.
I mean, just that last week when Chad was yelling at everybody and Otis stepped in front of him, that crowd was fire. That pop, like people were so for it, and it's the only way. You got to put gold on Otis, and in order to do that, you have to have him beat Chad with gold. Chad has to have.
And you know what? Tonight's going to be just as more painful because and it's like every week they do these segments and it's like you feel like, because the crowd's so there for it that you're like, oh wait, this could be the moment, but it shouldn't be. It's just a Raw. We've got a pay-per-view, this and that. So it's like tonight they're gonna, and I believe it's Otis versus Sammy scheduled for tonight, but I'm sure Gable's gonna get a mic in his hand and he's gonna have a belt on, so who knows? But like Chad Gable really is pushing these people and pushing the crowd to their limits, and people just want to see Otis stand up. So my biggest fear is that they are setting Otis up to just stand up to Gable and help Sammy, but that would be a disastrous decision. And the truth is, Sami Zayn doesn't actually need a memorable reign for the IC title. This isn't his first time holding the IC title, and also they tried to build up him at WrestleMania like he was winning the big one, and that's a testament and a credit to what Gunther did with the title. But let's be real, this is not the big one for Sami Zayn. The big one for Sami Zayn is the World Championship, and like John said, this is a way to get him into that conversation, and provided he gets past Gunther at SummerSlam, Damian Priest is a vulnerable champion. You kind of never really know how long they're going to let him keep it. You never know who's going to take him. Sami Zayn's a perfect person to do that. So it might be best. I do foresee a trade happening, though, where Sammy would kind of, and I don't see it long term, but for a time being, he would inherit the Alpha Academy, and Gable will snatch himself up the Creed brothers. And we've got that. We've got Sammy, Otis, and Tozawa.
There's also the word going around, like when they have that bloodline versus bloodline, Sammy goes and takes the fourth spot in Roman's bloodline. Makeup Fatu comes
I said that almost instantly. I would love to see Sami Zayn return to the bloodline.
Sammy's got a lot to keep him busy that he doesn't need a title for.
Right. But yeah, just to wrap this one up, I'm gonna go with you guys, because it's the best booking call, but also I think if maybe with our powers combined, we can get Chad Gable
manifesting it. We're manifesting it, baby. We're manifesting.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So yeah, Chad Gable's gotta win, and I almost feel like maybe Otis turns almost immediately. If I was them, I'd hold off, maybe have a Raw celebration, and then see how long we can keep them hooked. But I do kind of feel like they want that crowd to react to Otis here tonight at that pay-per-view. So there might be right after it wins. Boom. Let's go for Bayley versus Piper. We got the women's championship on the line. John, this is who I'm thinking your first is. Am I wrong?
No. So I got to bail. So I'm going to give you my last three picks. I have Bayley keeping the title here. Then I have Damian keeping his title, and then I have AJ Styles beating Cody Rhodes for the title.
Whoa.
Ooh. Okay. So there's your two. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I think they're going to have a rubber match, and Cody's going to win it back before SummerSlam. But I think AJ is going to take the title.
All right.
Because dirty finish. It's an I Quit match, by the way.
It's an I Quit match, so I think it's going to be like a dirty finish where Cody maybe gets knocked out by somebody and just by default has to.
Interesting.
Okay,
well, I've got.
They can't keep fucking AJ like this. Like AJ deserves the title for one last run, and this might be the good time to give it to him.
I agree, and I like it.
I like it. All right, later, man.
All right, brother. Guys, do not press that off button. We are still here. And Danielle, I shoot it to you. Let's start with the women. Let's go Bayley, Piper. Chelsea Green will, of course, be in Piper's corner.
I think this is going to be
the X Factor.
I think Bayley is going to retain, but I think there's going to be some I almost said canoodling, but that's not the word. I think there's going to be some dirty stuff going on. I think Chelsea's going to enter
Collusion.
a lot, collusion. I think maybe it's a DQ, like maybe Piper will win, but Bailey still retains because there's a DQ or something weird. I would love to see Piper with the title, but Bailey just won that baby, and I want Bailey to have this title, and I think Bailey's good for the women's division. I think Bailey is a locker room leader too, regardless of like, I think people sleep on her as one of the 4 horsewomen. I don't know why, because I think she's up there, and like, I think she should retain for as long as she can.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, I totally think Bailey should retain. I don't think she deserves a short title reign after everything she did last year with Damage Control, the rough, rocky beginnings the Damage Control had to what they were able to become, to her winning the Royal Rumble, to WrestleMania. Also, this might have been, I might be speaking differently if they had booked Piper differently for like the past ever.
Agreed.
But like, it kind of seems like they didn't look at the beginning of the year and say, hey, where are we going at Clash of the Castle? Oh, okay. Let's get Piper set up because we're going to have to do that match.
Yeah.
No, they waited until like a month ago, if that.
Definitely.
You know, and kind of just press the button. Let's not only have Chelsea annoy her way into this match for Piper, let's also try to establish, let's remind people about the Mae Young Classic. Let's wait until 2 weeks before the pay-per-view to remind people about everything Piper did and all the world champions she held all across the world. Like, they just, you know, and Piper cut the promo of her life. She's never been given a chance to do so until this.
Right.
So amazing job to Piper for making me even have to think about this one. But at the same time, WWE just didn't do enough to make me really think they're going to do it now. Have I been wrong before? Sure. I remember when Becky Lynch was fresh off her first women's title, and we didn't think Alexa Bliss had a fucking shot. Alexa Bliss walked out champ, and she didn't even have a hometown crowd helping her. So we could be wrong, and I think Bayley's the type of veteran who wouldn't necessarily mind dropping it to Piper.
Yeah.
I think Bayley's the type of veteran who would land on her feet, and Piper would excel. But I am still going to go with Bailey in this, and I'm hoping the crowd loves both of them and isn't just hating Bailey, because you never want to see your babyface champion win and get booed out of the building.
Samesies.
Don't want to see that.
Right.
Let's get into the one that John surprised me with. He's got AJ Styles beating Cody Rhodes. Who do you have? This is a new AJ. This is an I Quit match. I Quit matches are a tricky one to predict. He seemed to go with a Cody Rhodes getting knocked out. I don't know if we've ever seen like an I Quit match end by knockout. I feel like it's usually and this is why I Quit matches kind of grind my gears, because we're gonna have every time someone fucking puts an ankle lock or a fucking wrist lock, do you quit? Do you quit? The ref has the mic in his hand. I hate those fucking things.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of these matches either.
I Quit match and Last Man Standing are both kind of like my triple threat, because I hate the fact that every time somebody takes it knee, I got the ref counting to fucking 7, and then with I Quit, anytime somebody gets fucking knocked down, do you quit?
No, I do not. I think Cody's retaining. I think they worked too hard to have Cody have this belt and did a 2-year storyline to have Cody. I wouldn't mind AJ being the one to take it from him, because AJ's the perfect specimen to take it from him. I just don't know if it's now. So I'm going to keep Cody.
Yeah. I mean, also, this isn't going to be the main event, right? Like, It's got to be Damian and Drew. So,
I can't wait for Drew's entrance. I hope it's something bagpipes and all the shebang. I hope he comes riding in on a Loch Ness monster. Like, I want all of
it. Holy shit.
I want all of it.
Title of the episode set up. Perfect.
Now you're going to be very upset when you watch it and there's not a Loch Ness monster.
No Loch Ness monster. They didn't put any effort into this entrance. What the fuck? Where's the Loch Ness?
By the way, in Loch Ness, in Scotland, is such a big deal. The minute you walk in there, there's statues and everything about the Loch Ness monster. Like, it's their big thing there. Like, there's statues, there's things you could take pictures with. Nessie is everywhere. Everywhere.
I think he's gonna come out to like there's gonna be like 10 maybe 20 Drews. Like all jacked to hell, long hair, wearing the kilts, all that. They're all gonna have swords. They're all gonna be like standing, kind of like Undertaker and his druids. Just
They're
that,
gonna
like,
have all that, and then the two in the front are gonna be Jinder Mahal and fucking Heath Slater. That would be amazing.
oh my God. And see, now, no Loch Ness, no 3MB. What the fuck? WWE didn't even try. This entrance is bullshit.
Yeah, imagine. No, they're gonna come riding on Loch Ness monsters. The three of them are just gonna.
Right. 3M, that's what 3MB was missing. Their entire run, a Loch Ness goddamn monster.
Yeah.
No, but speaking of 3MB, and I we've definitely talked about this, but just I forget things, and sometimes so do you. Do you remember how Drew McIntyre got his finisher? How it was an accident?
No, I don't remember. Refresh my memory because I don't remember.
His kick was supposed to be a big boot. Now, if memory serves me correctly, he was hitting it to Ryback. But with 3MB, he was wearing those tight ass pants. And so when he put his big boot up, his other leg just followed, and he went airborne with the kick like it wasn't supposed to be that way. And then that turned into the Claymore.
I like the name of that finisher. It's a good finisher.
But yeah, and tight ass pants and a fake airband gimmick is really what brought us a fantastic finisher.
We don't get a Loch Ness
form of the
monster and
Claymore.
Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal. That's it. I'm turning the to show off. I'm gonna be like, I'm not even watching.
To finish up my Cody Rhodes AJ Styles.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I think AJ should win.
Yeah.
Like I do think it's the wrong call to just commit to what they've got planned. I know they've already got Cody's WrestleMania opponent in mind. That doesn't have to be the same reign. Fact is, if Cody does have a short reign here, guess what happens? The fans are gonna be pissed because wait a minute, we waited 2 years, 2 Royal Rumble wins for this. He's already lost the title. Bullshit. Cody deserves better. Cody for champion.
Yep.
And that's the only way you get them to say that again.
Refresh.
Yeah. A reset. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you already think that they wanted to screw Cody out of the WrestleMania moment. You already think that they didn't actually want Cody to be champion right now. So, and Roman Reigns is already rumored to be getting ready to return. The movie he filmed is done. So why not play off all that? And then, put it on AJ for what is to be assumed to be a final run with the championship. I can't.
And I want to switch my pick so bad, but I'm gonna stick with it. And you're going AJ?
No, I'm going Cody.
Oh,
okay. This is me saying what they should do, not what they will do. Once again,
I wish WWE or any wrestling company would do like a week where they let fans book shit. And as long as they let fans through it with a fine-tooth comb. Like, obviously, they can't just let you do anything because,
but then you gotta but then after a title change or after a gimmick or after a breakup angle, then WWE would have to tweet. So we'd like to thank I Like Mikey 69 for contributing this storyline.
Right, but I'm saying, like, obviously they would have to tweak it, or, like, everybody from the Attitude Era would have every female doing a panty and bra match, like, panty bra match, or, like, a pillow match. But I'm saying if they, like, look through it and they're like, okay, this seems okay, and let them do it for just a week, just to, like, see where it would run. Because, obviously, then Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal would come riding in on Loch Ness Monsters, and everybody would be
Here's the last thing I want to say to finish up on this one, because yes, I think they're going Cody, but this is why I think it's a horrible decision and why they really should go AJ. It's an I Quit match. AJ's the heel. I Quit matches we've seen, and I don't like this finish for the record, but we've seen it happen time and time again, and heel logic for me wins out when it comes to stuff like this. Let's just say Brandy Rhodes is in the building.
Okay.
Let's say it.
All right.
Let's say Brandy Rhodes is sitting front row. And Brandy Rhodes is sitting front row and she's crying and she's so sad. And then AJ says, fuck this noise. Handcuffs AJ to the fucking ropes. We've seen it happen.
You mean Cody?
And now Brandy's being held by the Good Brothers and AJ's got the chair. I'll do it, Cody. And Cody has to quit, right? He has to. We've seen it happen before. It would be a great way to put massive heel heat on AJ. You reinvigorate everyone's love for Cody. You might even get Brandy some fans out of the deal. Probably not, knowing the WWE fans, wrestling fans in general.
So wild. They hate her.
Poor Brandy. They really do. And her Her cooking channel was hilarious to me. I loved it because she literally starts it off by saying, I can't cook. This is not a cooking show. I'm going to drink with my friends and we're going to try and make shit without burning it. And that's what I loved because why? It's fucking relatable. I do that shit too. I can't cook, but I like to get drunk with friends to see if I can make something without burning it.
I think when I watch it, I used to get frustrated because I'm like, no, what are you doing? Stop that. No, that's not right.
Right. But that's where the disclaimer comes at hand. She's not a chef.
She's like, not a chef. No. I think she cooked with Darby
That's
Allin.
what's really missing from the Food Network. Shows that are not hosted by chefs. Yeah. I just want to see hungry fat people tell me how to eat, really.
Or they should do like people that eat in dorms and what they cook, like how they make like special things that they want to cook in dorms.
I want to see what oh wait, who was it that just had it started like I sent it to you like last week as a cooking channel or so. They tried fuck.
I forgot.
Oh, Brutus Creed.
Oh,
right, Brutus Creed of all people. Never really gets to talk that much. Him and his brother and Ivy, they're very entertaining on social media. But yeah, he recently kind of started like not even a cooking channel, it's a foodie page or something where he's gonna be
he like tries food and shit, no?
Yeah. Like that's the kind of stuff I want. What are you eating? How does it taste? I want Otis to tell me the sandwiches he makes. You know what I mean? Like
Otis
come on.
Bard. Otis is on Wicked on the grill. I just said Wicked. I don't know why that came out.
And Baron Corbin too. They're both grill masters.
Oh my god, I want to watch Baron Corbin cook all the time. He lives in Tampa.
Like, WWE did this back in the day. They should probably do it again. But they had all these wrestlers. JR with his barbecue, of course. They put out a cookbook. Everyone had like a special what?
Me and M2J did a cooking video where we made sexual chocolate cake.
Okay, we have to do that again. We got to make some.
Yeah, we got to like do one. We got to get like a really good kitchen set up and like just.
Mark Henry would love a slice of sexual chocolate cake.
Yeah, we did his cookbook. We did the cookbook and we made somebody's chicken. I forgot who we made. Yeah, me and Matt did this in his old apartment. M2J.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Because he has the cookbook.
But yeah, so I think Cody Rhodes will win this, but I do think it's a giant mistake. This is a golden opportunity. AJ Styles got himself white hot out of nowhere. And also, granted, Vince isn't running the show anymore, but apparently, per Mark Henry, when Mark Henry did the retirement angle and that led up to his match, the plan was to put the title on Mark. And Mark said no because he's like, bro, I can barely walk right now. Like, I can barely get to the ring. Like, this is it for me. You know, I'm happy for giving me one last run and all that, but I can't be on the road and doing everything the champ has to do. So, no, thank you.
What a wonderful man Mark Henry is.
Yeah, seriously, Mark's the best. But I do feel like this is kind of their chance to do that right, where AJ does the fake retirement, the brutal attack. It's an I Quit match. And like I said, there are outs. There are outs where it doesn't have to be Cody submitting because it hurts. It could be other babyface ways.
I hope AJ wears periwinkle pants to match his periwinkle suit.
All right, guys, let's look out. We're looking out for the Loch Ness Monster. We're looking out for 3MB. We're looking out for a nice periwinkle pair of pants.
And if none of this happens, I'm going to be very sad. Oh my god, I hope.
Let's get into, once again, what has to be the main event. Damian Priest, our leader of Judgment Day, and our campeon, fresh off his visit to New York, celebrating the Puerto Rican Day Parade. He will be traveling to Clash at the Castle to take on Drew McIntyre, and Drew thinks he's got it all in the bag because the crowd's going to want him. We know who John picks. Danielle, who you got?
Well, normally I have to say Drew McIntyre first because
of course,
always say Drew McIntyre. This is a tough one for me because I feel like they should give it to Drew. Kind of how you feel about AJ, I feel like they should give it to Drew. But I'm very torn because like I don't want Damian to be a transitional champion. Like I don't want him to jump.
And that's I think the difference. Whereas in my scenario, and a big reason why I'm okay with it, AJ winning, I think, would actually benefit Cody probably more than it benefits 100%
AJ.
Whereas this wouldn't. Yeah, this is not that.
I'm gonna go with Damian, but I feel like the reason Drew is gonna lose because CM Punk is gonna pop up somewhere or something's gonna happen. I don't think
Right.
it's going to be a clean
Right.
win. I think
No, CM Punk
CM
has
Punk
to
is going
cost
to
him
be
the
at the
match.
end of the ramp, sitting down Indian style, like cross-legged style, and then like with a mic and distracts him, or comes out or does something. I feel like CM Punk, like they can still solidify that
Yeah.
storyline, because I don't think I don't think it should be a clean win with Damian. I don't know if Finn, I don't know if Judgment Day will get involved at all. But I'm gonna stick with Damian.
The two reasons why you want to say maybe they give it to Drew. A, of course, the location. B, the fact that Gunther versus Damian doesn't feel as big as Gunther versus Drew.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And the way Drew's been rocking on all cylinders, the promos he's been cutting, the stories he's been telling, the character he's portraying, that man defending his title against Gunther, building up to that just is a different vibe.
And also, let's not forget, when Drew had his title run, it wasn't in front of a crowd. It was 2020.
Right.
There was nothing.
Right.
And he got it
what
again
better
now.
way to pay him back? Yeah.
How long did he have it this time? 4 minutes? 5 minutes? Before Damian cashed in? So, to have him have a legit run for a little bit?
Has he earned a legit run? Damn right. Has he earned that legit run to start in front of his fucking family, his friends, his hometown country? Absolutely. It's just a shame because this kills Damian. This destroys him. We don't even know what Damian does at SummerSlam now. And they haven't really him. If Damian's reign was going to end at Clash at the Castle, then the match that he had last week against Rey Mysterio should have been for the title.
Yes. Also,
because you haven't cemented anything.
Right, and also what happens of Judgment Day? They're losing all their gold now. We don't have anything for Judgment Day, and Liv's coming and doing all that stuff with Dom. What do we do?
I love what Liv's doing with Dom. She's so good. I love it.
It's coming. They still are telling stories, which is good, but I think Damian for Judgment Day needs to hold that gold. I think he needs to have that title. So it's tough because Drew deserves it, but this is tough. This is one of those Clash of the Castle. You're like, oh, these are going to be easy matches to predict, but it's touch and go.
I mean, listen, I think Drew's just doing the best work of his career. 100%. And I gotta believe that him getting an actual run will happen. And who knows? Maybe CM Punk actually finds his way to the title. And then as soon as me and you fucking grab our cameras to start complaining about it, we realize, oh, wait a minute. Drew's gonna win the Royal Rumble again, or something like that. So I think Drew is smart, and everything he's doing is gonna get him where he wants to go. Will it happen here and now? I don't think so. I think the story's got to be for CM Punk to cost him that title again. Drew can't get CM Punk's name out of his mouth, so essentially he's bringing it on himself like the heel he is. Also, CM Punk's a guy who's not scared of a night in Bizarro World. So he'll heal up for that one-time only crowd that's going to hate his fucking guts. He'll fucking flip them off. He'll tell them to fuck themselves. He'll sit in Indian style and soak in the booze. So I think it could make for an epic moment. But damn, not as epic as Drew winning in front of his family.
I think a big reason Drew won at WrestleMania is because of all the work he was doing. Granted, he dropped it and they continued the storyline with CM Punk and Damian cashing in. But I would have had no problem with Damian just cashing in on Seth and Seth retaining and Damian. But I think because Drew was doing so much work and putting in so much effort and really making his name pop and keeping him a topic of conversation till WrestleMania, is that why they chose to put the belt on him like that?
But you know what, man? I'm still worried about Damian. Because like I said, they haven't given him strong defenses. They haven't given him strong matches. They haven't given him anything since WrestleMania, really. He comes out, he talks, and he acts cool and calm, and that's great. But then he's also hanging out with these losers. The Judgment Day is just constantly running around like chickens with their head cut off, getting beat by God knows who. He's always complaining about him. He's fixing their messes. So even if he beats Drew the way we're saying, CM Punk comes and interferes, so Damian gets lucky. Now this guy is going to SummerSlam to take on the fucking Emperor of Imperium, the king of the ring,
Ring
the
general.
ring general.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't set Damian up to really feel like he could.
Convincing. To be convincing.
And that's a problem, because that was the power of Judgment Day. It was 4. It's 5 of them. They're you know what I mean? Like, if Dominic's gonna lose, if JD's gonna lose, if Finn's gonna lose, at the very least, them and fucking Carlito following around should be able to help Damian win, but Damian doesn't want their help anymore. So, like, what are we seeing? It seems like they're trying to set it up so that when Damian Priest does lose his title, at least the fans will love him. At least he'll switch babyface and go on his own. But it's like, is he really going to be better off then? A middling babyface without an audience, without a stable and without a championship, having to get over and get to that level all over again. Like, it's just unfortunate. We want to see the King of the Ring get a title shot, but it's so soon. We want to see Drew win the title in his hometown, but it's so fucking soon. I just want to see Damian Priest get a decent run and actually get elevated after this.
100%.
And here's another thing about why they need to protect Damian more. They don't protect their Money in the Bank winners. He didn't wrestle a match to win the title. He cashed in. You have to work extra hard to give that guy a little
100%.
credibility. They never do.
100%.
Never.
100%. I completely agree. It just, I don't know what they do. See, this
So I'm hoping Damian gets a win here and doesn't look so like a fool or so super lucky. Like, establish him a little bit. Give him some Raw defenses as well. Rey Mysterio is a perfect one. Hall of Famer, former world champion.
Like, he can have a good match with Drew at Clash of the Castle, but like, CM Punk costing Drew the belt, I don't mean it like he knocks Drew out or something. Drew gets distracted because, CM Punk consumes him and he like turns his head for a minute or something like that, and Damian takes action and like cashes in on that and stuff like that.
Imagine there's fake CM Punk sitting in the front row, distracting him. Like, just guys with paper bags over their head, like a callback to the Strange Society.
It's going to be like the cardboard cutouts of JD and Scrubs, and they're just going to be randomly placed. And he just keeps thinking
yes.
CM Punk.
He thinks the timekeeper is CM Punk. All of a sudden, the ring. All of a sudden, the bell keeper is wearing a CM Punk hoodie. He's turning around. Are you guys fans? What the fuck's going on?
You're picking Damian, though, right? I got to put it.
I am picking Damian. Yeah, I need Damian to get a good win here. Come on, Priest.
I think these are going to be good matches, though.
I do too. If you had to pick one of the matches we talked about earlier, so it's DIY, the Tag Team Championship match, the Kevin Owens and Street Profits versus the Bloodline, or Logan Paul versus LA Knight. Which one would you say we got?
The Bloodline, I think we would get.
Which one?
The Bloodline. I think the Bloodline KO we would get.
Yeah. I almost feel like that may not be an announced match. Like, that may just happen like a brawl. Like a match finishes, they go backstage. How are we doing tonight? Oh, wait a minute, what's happening? And it's just a brawl. And Paul Heyman's screaming and crying and grabbing somebody's leg like he's fucking Jeff Van Gundy. Shit's crazy. That's what I'm thinking.
Paul Heyman is so delightful. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you don't already follow us on social media, we are at The Heel Marks. We are everywhere you listen to your podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, we're not just smart marks, we're heel marks.
They're heel marks. They're not just smart, they're heel marks. They're not just smart, they're heel marks. They're not